Ladies and gentlemen,
Businesses have life cycles just like humans, and what they need at each stage will be different.
Yeah, it's a setup to make you get up and get into it. Allow me to influence your
the
financial
six
affluence.
figure
It's a
setup.
setup to make you get up and get into it. Allow me to influence your financial affluence.
The six figure setup.
But nothing in this world that I like more than checks. Money. All I really wanna see is the money.
Go get the money, go get the money.
My check.
The six figure setup.
Gone are the days of expensive weekend conferences masquerading as business coaching opportunities. T3 Diversity Solutions is a management consulting firm that helps women of color business owners start, grow, and scale their companies through personalized consulting, access, and support. Their focus on strategic planning and growth is what your business needs to attain and sustain six-figure success. Visit T3DiversitySolutions.com to schedule your 360 business analysis. The Six Figure Setup podcast is excited to welcome Jacque Martin, CEO of Jacque M528 LLC. On today's episode, Jacque shares her experience with transitioning from a full-time career to full-time entrepreneurship, along with her views on business partnerships and the relentless pursuit of success. This is an episode you cannot miss.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Six Figure Setup podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Gillespie. So happy to be back with you all. I hope that last week's message was really, really good, that you all learned something. We are in November. We are in National Entrepreneurship Month. So, of course, I was going to bring on some amazing entrepreneurs that I know, some amazing women that I know. And I am really, really excited to have someone who I got the opportunity to meet in the spirit first. We actually met at a conference of one of our mutual friends, Raven Poquette, many years ago. So we actually met in a place of prayer, but I was really inspired by Jacque's story, and I'm going to, give a formal introduction and bio and all of that in a second. But I was really inspired by her story, and then also just this beautiful spirit that she carries. Yes, she's beautiful on the outside, but if you've ever had the opportunity to be around her in person, to hear her speak or teach, then you know that her spirit really is beautiful. Like, she is like just a sweet person, like her voice is sweet, like everything about her is sweet. And that was what really stuck out to me. And again, we had the opportunity to meet over some prayer. God was doing what God does. And from there, we've been connected. And I'm so honored that she's with me for the Six Figure Setup podcast. I am a Jacque M fan. Y'all know I believe in really supporting the businesses, okay? The last time we did something together, I had all my purses like in the background. That I've purchased from Jacque throughout the years since I've met her. But literally, and one of my favorite bags, I call it the money bag. It's the Santorini, the big green bag. I love that bag. I always get compliments on it. So I am a true Jacque M fan. But Jacque M, she is a former vice president in banking, and we're going to dig into that. It's really important that you all understand where she came from and where she is now. She successfully made the transition from corporate America to full-time entrepreneurship, but it wasn't without its challenges. And again, we're going to hear about that because I love a good comeback story. As a single mother, she suddenly found herself going from a six-figure salary down to an unemployment check. And you all have been, following me for
unemployment check.
Yeah, gotta be clear, okay? So you all know my story as well. I love talking to other women who have the same story. I became unexpectedly unemployed, went from, having a job to not having one, being on unemployment, being on food stamps, being on Medicaid, and have been able to come back from that and build multiple successful businesses. And Jacque shares that same part of the story. So we're going to let her share about that in a few seconds. But she literally, and again, those type of things, they happen overnight. So there is no preparation for those things. But over the past 11 years, she has been able to build multiple successful industries that generate over 6 figures in revenue seven figures in revenue on an annual basis. And she's in the industry of fashion and real estate and, got a couple of things going on. So I'm really excited to have Jacque M here with us. Welcome.
Hey.
Yes. So can you just, I'm going to kick it off. First of all, if there's anything that I forgot, but I definitely want you to take a few minutes to expand on going from corporate to unemployment to self-employed, and just like what that journey was like for you.
Wow. It's so interesting when I tell people what that looks like, because I literally was, when you are giving your all to a company, right? You give your all to a company, you sacrifice so much, especially when you're in leadership roles. And that's what I did. I gave like 100%, traveled literally from Chicago to New Orleans to Milwaukee to now Dallas with this job as a single mom. And it's interesting because you put so much into a company, but you don't get the same back. All you get back is a salary, but no one really cares how you're feeling, and the stress levels you go through. So for me, I got burnt out. And I just know one day I went into the office, my boss came in and he said, hey, I want to talk to you about some things. And if anyone knows anything about banking, it's really a sales job. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the profit and loss. It's all about what's next. So for me, when that happened, it was just one of those things where he says, I want to offer you another role, which was like a demotion. And for me, I was like, no, I don't want a demotion. If I can't continue to do the same role, then I don't want any role. That was my mindset at that time. And so unfortunately, he let me go, and I walked out with pride, right? But when I got in my car, I felt like I wanted to break down and cry, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is really real. Like I don't have a job. And all I can think about is I'm going to be a single mom. Like I am a single mom. I still have to take care of my daughter. I still have bills. I still have a lifestyle. So what do I do? And I remember like it was yesterday, I never cried. Instead, I went to my favorite place. And if anybody knows, my favorite place is Starbucks. I went to Starbucks, I pulled out my laptop, and I filed for unemployment. The same thing. Didn't cry, didn't do anything. And all I know is after I did that, I remember picking up my daughter from school, because it was 2 days before her birthday. I picked her up from school, and I said, you know what? I'm going to spend the summer with my daughter. And that's all I wanted to do. I spent the entire summer with my daughter. And during that time, I remember praying. And I just remember asking God to guide my footsteps. I remember clearly saying to him that I don't ever want that feeling again where someone take my income, my salary, my bread and my butter, literally overnight. And I stuck to that prayer, and still to this day is my same prayer. So when I asked him to guide my footsteps, I just said, whatever you want me to do. I had no business plan. I had no game, no ideas, nothing. All I knew is whatever you want me to do, I'm going to lean on your understanding and not my own. Yeah. So that entire summer was my prayer. Shortly, I just started to play around with some different accessories, and he naturally transitioned me into what my true calling is. And fashion is easy for me. It's easy for me to decide, oh, what am I going to wear today? What am I going to do today? What do I want to look like? That's always been easy for me. And I just remember slowly getting into that lane and getting into that space and just playing around with different things that I had in my house. I made a pair of earrings, put them on Facebook. The next day, someone sent me a message saying how much. This is someone I did not know. someone that was a friend of a friend.
Mm.
And all I remember was saying $40. She sent me $40 on PayPal. I packaged the earrings up, sent them out on the post office. I said, oh, that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
A week later, someone called and said, hey, I want you to apply to be a part of Pat Smith, Emmett Smith's wife, luxury girlfriends retreat. And I said, for what? She's looking for, brands, women-owned businesses in Dallas to be a part of her exclusive luxury boutique, girlfriends getaway or whatever at this hotel. And all I was thinking was, well, I only been doing this a week. I probably only sold a couple pair of earrings a week. I don't really have a business. What does this mean? And I remember inquiring about it. And when I inquired about it, I got the application, and the application was very intimidating because it was a long application with all of these questions, and they wanted you to submit your samples and all of that. And I was like, okay, what happened to vendors? You just send your little $100 for a book, and boom, you in.
This ain't that.
It was real exclusive, the hand picking, the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I was so intimidated because all I can think of is these little cheap earrings. The ladies of that caliber, don't want these cheap earrings. They like expensive stuff. That's all I could think, right? Because I didn't know. And I just said, you know what, God, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
You brought the opportunity to me. So I said, I want you to guide my footsteps. So I have to be wise enough, right?
Yeah.
Pay attention to the signs.
Mm.
So that was a sign for me. Even though I wasn't prepared, I didn't even have a business name. I didn't have a website. I didn't have anything. I had nothing.
Mm.
All I knew was I could figure this out. I came from a sales background. So sales, technology, all of that stuff. And this was back in the day where social media wasn't big, where people were selling on social media, right? You didn't have the Instagram back in the day. You had Facebook, right? So I said, all right, let me figure it out. And I figured it out. It out. Got selected to be a part of this event. They sold me out in that weekend. I sold out. And that to me was the validation that I felt like I needed. Let me say that. I felt like I needed the validation. But in reality, you really don't need the validation.
Yeah.
You don't need the validation. You need the trust and the faith in God to believe that He's not going to put you in positions and He's not going to allow you to win in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, so I trust that, and I still trust that to this day. So that was really the transition for me into entrepreneurship. That event is something that made me say, you can do this. You got this. And I just remember every day, blood, sweat, tears, single mom, unemployment check, taking my little unemployment money, using, my savings and things like that to just pour into my business. And I showed up.
Say that.
Every day.
Say that.
I was present every day.
Yeah.
Every event in Dallas that was a fashion related event, I was there.
Come on.
Every single one. So I was on the ground making a name for myself. Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what started it. That was my transition. And for me, it was just like, okay, I didn't have a business plan, so I didn't have an end goal. I didn't have a 3 to 5 year, sales forecast or anything like that. It was just more like, okay, every day is something new. Every day is something new. And from accessories, I ended up into a wardrobe stylist. I ended up being a wardrobe stylist for DJ Spinderella. And I traveled with her, and I saw a lot. I met a lot of people, and just really leveraged the opportunities that was placed in front of me. And again, it was a God thing. It wasn't something that I just stumbled upon. I stumbled upon it, but it wasn't me. It was really God strategically placing me in the right places at the right time so that I can focus on the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to figure out this entrepreneurship thing. I wanted to figure out what this life is going to be like. I wanted to figure out what type of business I was going to be great at. And for me, it was really a purpose-driven vision because it just happened organically.
Yeah.
Every day it happened organically. So being a wardrobe stylist, I ended up learning the craftsmanship of working with leather, and a gentleman, the he taught me how to create products using raw material.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Businesses have life cycles just like humans, and what they need at each stage will be different.
Yeah, it's a setup.
All right, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I am live with Jacque M. She is the founder of Jacque M 528 and has a wonderful handbag company, is just a leader in multiple industries. And before the commercial break, she was just telling us about her story because I want to get into transition with Jacque. So it was very important that she laid the foundation so that you all could understand that literally her life has been marked by these God-led transitions, things that she couldn't have even done herself. You've heard her talk about how she lost her job, how she got the opportunity to go and sell her earrings before she even had a business plan, how she became a wardrobe stylist. And right before the commercial break, she was beginning to tell the story of how she got into actually making handbags. So this has been at this point in your story, it's literally been, again, a journey of transition. So how did you go from being a wardrobe stylist for DJ Spinderella to being a handbag designer? What did that process look like for you?
So it was interesting because I learned the craftsmanship. And when I learned the craftsmanship, I was really good at the design. And as I'm creating bags, I'm traveling with her. I'm a wardrobe stylist. So of course I'm making bags, exclusively for her. And, I'm putting the bags on her. And as we're traveling, you have other people asking, oh, wow, that bag is really dope. Where did you get that bag? And I'm like, I made it. And, the first thing is like, huh, you made it? Because, 10 years ago, it was unheard of for Black handbag designers. And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't know anyone on social media when I got on Instagram that was actually selling or making or being a Black-owned handbag designer. I didn't know anybody. So I like to say that I was one of the first, if not the first, and I'm grateful for that because I was able to leverage all of these opportunities as a wardrobe stylist to get my bags on the red carpet in the hands of a celebrity. And then from there, other celebrities are asking. And I'm getting calls and DMs and things like that from different reality stars asking if I can make them a bag or can you send me some stuff or whatever. And so those are the things that, started to happen for me as a wardrobe stylist. So now I'm finally on Instagram from Facebook. And I remember one day my following went from 100 followers to literally 5,000 followers overnight. And I'm like, what's going on? What happened? And this is when I didn't understand the power of Instagram at that time because it was new.
Yeah.
When I went from 100 followers to 5,000 overnight, I said, something is going on. My phone wouldn't stop ringing, so I got scared. And yes, and it was Derek J from the Atlanta Housewives at the time. He posted a bag that I had sent to him. And when he posted that bag went crazy. My followers went through the roof. My DM was going crazy. Like emails was going crazy. And I didn't even have like a website at the time. I didn't have a website at the time. And I just was like, oh my God. That's when I realized this is going to be crazy. And when that happened for me, I just really took it serious. And I became like just crazy with designs, new looks. And I would always be and spend my time at the leather store. So I started building relationships with them, getting really great deals. And I would always get inspired by the different materials that I would come across. And when that happened, I was still styling spin, but my business starts to go crazy. So when I'm like, this money is coming in, and I'm like, okay, I gotta keep going, and I found something that one was therapeutic for me, and I found something that I was really great at, and something I love. I fell in love with it. I fell in love, and I became extremely passionate about it. And when people would get my bags and the reaction and the wow factors that I would deliver, for me, it was like, this is it. And I stuck with it. And unfortunately, handbags took over my life. So again, I made that transition. From one thing after the next, from corporate to literally an unemployment check, from unemployment to making, earrings, doing events, doing vendor shows, from that transition into wardrobe styling, using that opportunity to put my products on a celebrity, right? And from there, I transitioned into the handbag space, and I literally stayed there, and I found my lane, and I was really, really good at it, very passionate about it, and I became 100% committed, and I stayed consistent. Those were the things that brought me to where I am today. Handbags allowed me to have a lifestyle to continue to give to my daughter. Handbags is what allowed me to take money to reinvest into other products. Handbags allowed me to get into real estate. Handbags allowed me to invest into real estate. And now handbags is still allowing me to do those type of things. And for that, I am extremely grateful.
Yeah. So good. So good. So if you are listening in, hopefully you have your notebook open and you are taking notes. If as the host, I'm taking notes. I know if you're listening, you can't see the visual, but I'm holding up my little note card, to the screen for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. You really need to be taking notes from what Jacque is sharing. And there's a couple of things that I really want to make sure that people didn't miss about everything that you've shared so far. The first thing is being called before you're qualified, like quote unquote qualified by the world. I did an interview a few weeks ago with Jessica Williams. She is the owner of Irregular Exposure. And we spent a lot of time talking about the importance of just getting started, right? We live in a day and age, I think now, where there's really this focus on perfectionism. And I have this not so back and forth with people all the time, because I'm not going to go back and forth with them about it. When you've been in business for as long as we have, when you've been in business for 10 years, when you've been in business for, 11 years, 12 years, and all of those things, it's kind of hard to go back and forth with people who ain't been around that long, right? The same way that I imagine that 100-year-old company would be going back and forth with me. But people think that everything has to be perfect. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't do everything in excellence, right? You do it as well as you can with what you have. And literally, when we talk about like our faith, when we talk about what we believe, that God's word literally tells us that we are first called, then qualified, then justified, then glorified, right? But everybody wants to move from like barely accepting their calling to the glory and not go through the other stages of the process or understand how important those things are. And in your story, I heard that, right? That first you were called, and then as you got better, you were like, man, my stuff, like it's not expensive enough, or it's not luxurious enough, right? But as you got better, you became more and more qualified for the calling that you had already said yes to. And then that justification, it comes when other people, it's like, again, that validation, and you mentioned that, right? Not that you need it, because once you got that justification from God, that's it. But that external validation or that justification in, the spiritual sense, that happened. And now you are literally like living in the glorious side or the glorious things of answering the calling. And I don't want people to miss that. And I want to go back to something you said. I want to have you chime in here, but because I want us to talk about particularly in this month, National Entrepreneurship Month. You mentioned being a Black woman handbag designer, and how uncommon that was when you first started your business over a decade ago. Can you talk about some of the challenges? And I want to give people a little bit of motivation to I guess just kind of like get over it, right? Whatever they feel like their obstacles are, because that's a huge hurdle, to try to jump over. So what did that feel like for you? And how do you can you just give us one thing that you did to move past that?
So the thing is, for me, just waking up every day and loving what you do. I think it's the biggest thing for me that I did. Even when I didn't feel like it was good enough, I still got up every single day and did it. And I think that people miss that part. I think that people get so caught up in what's going on here. Sometimes we get caught up what's going here in our head, and we have to get out of our head because, and I still struggle with this, and I always talk about things like fear, because fear is something that's really made up, right? But it's different levels of fear, right? And when it's time to make a move and make a decision, the only thing that stops you really is you. Because the moment you walk through the door of fear, you realize there's nothing that's really holding you back once you accomplish those type of things. So for me, just getting up every day and just being consistent, and just trusting that the prayer that I prayed is going to happen for me. It's going to happen. So just really having that confidence and that belief. And I know people say, oh, that's so cliche, but no, that's really what it is. It's really what it is, and we get caught up two things: the fear of not being good enough and not having enough money.
Talk about it.
Those are the things, the two major things that hold us back from moving forward. But when you realize there are so many things that you can do to generate money that will get you to what you need, the money, it'll get you the money that you need to accomplish whatever big goal you have. Okay. But sometimes we want to get to the end goal and not worry about the hurdles along the way.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was just really understanding my space, my lane, what I can do, what my money is going to allow me to do right now.
So good. Your money right now.
My money is going to allow me to do right now. Now, when I get that money, I have to understand that this money is for this particular investment. And when I'm starting making money from that investment, that money is really not my money, right? It's not my money. It's the money I made from the investment. It's that revenue that I generated from that investment, but the revenue ain't my money because I still have my big goal, right? And I still have the expenses, right, that I got to pay out. Yeah. So all the revenue ain't my money. I got to pay out my expenses. That ain't my money no more. I got to pay, right? And now I got to reinvest. And now I have to figure out, okay, I made this money. This is what's left over. Now let me put it back so I can keep trying to get to this big goal. You might not be able to spend $10,000 on a new product, right? But I might be able to spend $5,000. So can I negotiate and maybe not order all of that, but can I order $5,000 worth of product? So I think that we get so caught up in the fear of not having enough and not feeling like we're enough.
So good. So good. I mean, that's a message in itself. Like we could do a whole podcast about all of these kind of soft skills or mindset things that you have to have in place and keep in place throughout your journey. And I love that you pointed out that you still have to, battle that fear. And even though you know that you overcome it and that you have the victory over it, it doesn't mean that it won't creep back in. I have found in my journey that the fear just changes. And I feel like the fear like gets bigger, especially if we talk about like finances. I remember the first time I invested in business consulting, it was $150 a month. And that was a lot for me because I was on unemployment already. So trying to figure out how to balance my personal needs in addition to investing in this business, $150 was a lot. Now I look at my investments and I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, how are we going to do this every month? And I was telling my girlfriends the other day that maybe like last week, I just had this moment. I was sitting in my office, sitting at my desk, and I just looked up at the sky and I'm like, God, you really keep paying these bills. Like, you really keep making sure that I have money to it. Like, you keep doing this over and over and over again.
Over and over again.
Yes.
Over and over again. And it's funny that you say that because, as an entrepreneur, we have to get used to not having a steady income. Right? In the beginning, when you make the transition, you have to get comfortable with not having a steady income, and once you get your rhythm, right, you can kind of say, okay, I got my rhythm. I know this is going to keep happening because what I do know, and I just texted this to someone, God don't bring you this far just to bring you this far.
Yeah.
He don't do that. And when you truly believe that he's going to always guide your footsteps, he's not going to bring you this far to bring you this far. He got so much more for you to accomplish. And these are the kind of conversations that I share with people that I care about, that I love when they're down, right? These are things that I tell myself when I'm feeling down because I start to look back from when I had that little $417 a week unemployment check, not knowing what is going to happen next week, right? Mm-hmm. And when you go to a place of your lowest, not knowing how you're going to come out of this, and then you start really scanning through your life, and you like, oh my God, I did this. Oh my God, I accomplished this. Oh my God, I did that. When you start having those, oh my God, he did that for me. Why he gonna stop? He's not going to stop because you trust him and he knows that you're gonna do what he says. So he's gonna continue to put new opportunity in your face every single day. Yeah. And when you get up every single day and focus and stay focused, you're going to be able to recognize all of those things that he's putting in your face. You're going to see the signs every day. Yeah. You're going to have the wisdom to see the opportunities that he placed in front of you every single day. Now, if you pay attention, you're going to get it. But if you're not paying attention because you didn't show up today, you stayed in your bed all day, you cried all day today, you stressed out all day today, you can't see the opportunity when you're not clear here. You know what I'm saying? When you're not clear in your mind, you can't see the opportunity. It's there. We just got to pay attention.
Yeah, so good. Man, listen, Jackie is dropping all the gems. She on here preaching low key, and I absolutely love it. So I just want you all to, write this down, that there is power in commitment. There is power in consistency. There is power in sticking with the plan and sticking with God. And there's also power in niching down and really focusing on first things first. One of the things that I see a lot in today's entrepreneurial world is jumping out there and trying to build 5 different businesses at the same time, when you haven't even built your first one. Now, if you are a serial entrepreneur and you're successful and you can balance building 4 or 5 businesses at the same time, more power to you. But there's really a lot of power in, niching down even within your industry. So we're going to go for a commercial break, give y'all a second to take a breather from all that fire that Jackie just gave us. And when we come back, we're going to transition a little bit away from the personal, and I really want to get into some tangible things, right? We're going to talk about her six-figure secret. And you all know I always save that until the end, so you all have to make sure you stick around. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Awesome.
November is National Entrepreneurship Month, and T3 Diversity Solutions is celebrating all month long. We kick the month off with a global prayer call for all entrepreneurs. Listen up to hear what else we have in store this month. On Wednesday, November 9th, we will present our Holiday Hustle Prep Masterclass. This free masterclass will help you prepare your business for the holiday sales season. Next up is our virtual roundtable discussion in honor of Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Coffee with the CEOs is a virtual roundtable featuring women leaders of diverse nationalities. Join them as they share their strategies for building business ecosystems on Saturday, November 19th. But wait, that's not all. We have new episodes of the Six Figure Setup podcast every week, and our CEO, Tiffany Gillespie, will be live on Instagram each week to teach on the importance of education, ecosystems, inclusion, and policy for women business owners. You cannot afford to miss a single thing, so visit T3DiversitySolutions.com to register for all of our free events this month. Visit T3DiversitySolutions.com today.
All right, guys, welcome back. I am your host, Tiffany Gillespie. Welcome back to the Six Figure Setup podcast. I am live with Miss Jacque M. She is a leader in the fashion industry, also in some real estate, but we're going to come back to that in a second. So I really just want to keep the conversation flowing. And we're going to talk a little bit about the significance of this month. In 2021, President Biden issued a proclamation that declared November as the National Entrepreneurship Month in the United States. This is a month that celebrates the relentless spirit of entrepreneurs all across this country. And you have spent the first part of our time together talking really about the benefit of being relentless, not giving up when those challenges came. You've heard Jacque talk about all of the transitions. There were swift transitions in her life, the ups, the downs, the ebbs, the flows. So it's obvious that she's a relentless person. It's obvious that she really embodies the spirit of this month, which is National Entrepreneurship Month. But I want to talk a little bit about what some people might perceive as giving up. You spent a lot of time talking about not giving up. But let's look at, I know for me, and I was just sharing this with a friend earlier today, is that I don't believe in staying on sinking ships. And what I mean by that is, particularly in business, but that can be applicable to any area of life, is that when the ship of business takes a hit, and it's taking on water and you see that it's sinking, I don't believe in staying in a place where it will continue to sink. And a lot of people, because of the spirit of pride, don't want to let things go. They feel that if they let things go, that they are losing, when actually letting something go or walking away from something in business could actually be beneficial. So can you talk about a time when it was advantageous for you to walk away from something in business? And, you know, how did you make the decision? How were you confident? All of that.
Well, there's actually been plenty of times. Sometimes you get into businesses and business relationships and things like that. And like you said, when it's just not a sinking ship. I mean, when it starts to become like a sinking ship, and you feel like there's no more passion behind doing it every day. It's one of those things where you just have to make a decision. Sometimes you just have to do it. I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason to it. At the end of the day, if it's business and it's not making any sense and it's not making any dollars and you're no longer passionate about it, it's just one of those things where it's time to just make a move and walk away. And there's no ill feelings. It's just, you just have to do it. And I think that especially being a serial entrepreneur and having multiple streams of income, I think it's easier. I think it really is easier to make those type of decisions when you have other streams of revenue, right, that's coming in. And it's just one of those things where, you know what, this don't work. It's not working anymore. We got to make a decision. And it's just, you move forward and that's it. You move forward and you continue on, you know. But the thing is, for me, I have multiple irons in the fire. I have multiple streams of revenue. So I always believe that when one is not growing and it's not doing anything, I have others to kind of supplement that. So I think for me, that's peaceful for me, as long as I have other things that's still making up for what I lost, if that makes sense. So I try not to, you know, get too personal when it comes to business, because business is something that's cyclical. One day it's up, one day it's down. You can't get so emotional about when it's down. You know, when business is down, that's just the nature of the beast. It's just the nature of the beast. And I think that when you understand that, then things are so much easier. So really understanding that when you are in business, business is cyclical. Some days are great, some days are not so good. You have great months, you have down months, you have great years, you have down years. And for me, I've learned that early on in business. So you can't get emotionally tied to something, because the moment you do that, it becomes more of a stress factor for yourself, you know? And it's just all about understanding and separating business from personal. Business is business, and you can't be emotionally attached to business when it's not working out. And when it's not making any money, when it's not, everybody's not passionate about it anymore, or you're not passionate about it anymore, you know, it's a hard decision to just move on. But at the end of the day, you always have to remember that it's not personal. It's not personal, you know.
Yeah, for sure. That's so good. And I love that. I think a lot of times in business, especially today, there are a lot of like blanket statements, blanket sentiments, blanket methodologies and approaches to business. But really, the journey is very like individualistic, right? That you don't know what's going to happen in your business when, and you really just have to be able to walk, you know, rock with those ebbs and flows. And I tell people all the time that entrepreneurship is literally like throwing a bunch of ideas against a wall and hoping that it sticks. You know, when you like throw spaghetti against the wall, you know it's done if it sticks. If it slides off the wall, it's not done, right? And it's the same thing in business with ideas. And, you know, I've had to close businesses. There are businesses that I've opened that people never even found out about because maybe something behind the scenes didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, or, you know, something happened in the legal process and I had to let it go. There have been things that I've legally had to let go of because somebody beat me to the trademark, or, you know, whatever. And you can't be, like you said, so married to a single idea or even to a single business that you're not willing to walk away from what is no longer serving you. And if it's not serving you, then it's probably not serving your audience. There was something that you mentioned in that piece that you were just saying about, you know, knowing when to walk away. You mentioned business relationships. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I know how powerful business partnerships have been for me. I am the sole owner of some businesses, and then I'm a co-owner of some businesses, and there's a huge difference. There's lots of differences between the two. So can you talk about, and I know that you have some great, you know, partnerships and things in line. I recently saw a partnership in the real estate industry, and I'm like, these are two of my favorite people. I'm so excited about this. You know, for you to use your design skills in different ways. So can you talk about just the power of partnership? And then I do already have a follow-up question, but what's the power of partnership in business?
So, you know, I always say there is power in collaboration. I believe in that. I am so like, I love partnerships and collaborations, because two is better than one. 3 is even better than 2. And 4 is better than, you've got multiple business partners that you are in business with, and everyone has the same end goal. Everyone is on the same page. That is magic. That's magic, 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 because everyone brings something unique to the table. Everyone brings something dynamic. And when you can bring women together, and I always say women, and I'm not opposed to working with men. I just haven't been in any businesses yet with men. But for me, just to see Black women coming together, not just with their mindset or their ideas and knowledge, but really putting the money on the table and really bringing their finances together to create something that's magical, that can change lives for everybody. I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I've had some great runs. I had some great partnerships, over the last 11 years as an entrepreneur. And I think that partnerships bring you further and closer to your goal than you could ever do by yourself. I'm not saying get into a partnership with any and everybody, but those partnerships, you got to vet them just like you would vet anything else. You have to understand what they bring to the table. Just like if you're looking for a new job, you're going to do your research about that company. You're going to see, well, does this company even have anything to offer me? Am I going to be fulfilled in this workspace? So I think that partnerships are just like jobs, just like relationships, because you spend a lot of time with your business partners, and it's definitely something that I think is magical when you can come together and bring something that's like and understand that it's bigger than you. So I've had some great runs with some great partnerships, and I still have partnerships that's successful. So I'm grateful for that. I'm always open for new business opportunities, new partnerships, because there's always something that we can do as a unit that we probably can't do alone. So yeah, I'm always down with partnerships. I love it.
Yes, same here, and I love everything that you just said. Let's talk about vetting the relationship, or vetting the individual before you enter into partnership with them. We could probably do an entire podcast episode about business partnerships from the first step to the last step, but I want to highlight or talk a little bit about a little known skill, or like, what is something that you think more people need to look for or pay attention to when they are deciding whether or not to form a partnership? Like, we know you got to do the legal stuff. We know you got to have the ideas. We know you got to do the financial stuff. And I love that you mentioned putting money on the table. But what is something that wouldn't immediately come to mind that you think people need to know about business partnerships?
The number one thing is, because, ideas, they come and go, right? Ideas gonna always come. The money we ain't got no money and we ain't got nothing to talk about. So that's like a given. But the biggest thing is, you want to be sure that your partners are kind of like they have businesses, they've been successful in business, so they eat, breathe just like you. It's hard to be in a partnership with someone that's never been in business before. So for me, I don't get into partnerships with people that ain't never been in business. Okay, if you're just a worker and you always worked a job and that's your mindset, that's fine. But if you have a true entrepreneurship spirit and a hustle and a drive and that consistency, then I'm all in, because you can't teach that. We can teach education. We can teach how to do this business. We can learn how to do the business together. We can learn and we can get money. We can generate the revenue or the income or the money just to start the business. We can do all those things, but some things you cannot teach is someone's hustle and grind and get up and go every single day when it comes to the business. When you get somebody that's gonna eat, sleep, and breathe the business just like you, then to me, you have more I will go with somebody that got that kind of hustle any day than
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's gonna say, oh, I got $50,000 I can put on the table. That's cool, but $50,000 gonna go away just like that.
Yep.
So what we gonna do to keep it going? So if
Mm-hmm.
everybody have the same drive, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Looking for someone that has that same drive and that's excited just like me about the business every single day.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you said that because that was what I was going to say. I wanted you to answer the question first. And I agree 1000%. I literally have written down on my little note card here work style that I think in general, whenever you're talking about working in team settings, whether it's in your corporate job, whether it's in ministry, whether it's in community, whether it's in relationship, like romantic relationships, family, business, whatever it may be, there has to be, you don't necessarily need to have the same work style as someone else, but there needs to be complementary work styles. I know some people who can work on a project every single day. I'm not like that. I'm more of like an every other day person, but you better believe that when I come to the meeting, I'm going to have all of my notes, all of the things that are necessary, to make sure that I'm upholding my end of the deal. I'm not going to be repeatedly coming to a meeting saying like, hey, I don't have this, or, when it's time to put the money up, or, it's time to take a trip, or whatever it may be. You really want to be connected to people who have a similar or a complementary, let me say that, a complementary work style. And I think that's important in relationships in general, that where one may balance you out, where one person may be really balanced or do really well, another person may not be as strong in that area. But as long as the two can work in tandem, and you all can, really kind of carry where the other person may be weaker or may have an area for growth, I think that you have one of the most underrated skills in terms of success in entrepreneurship and definitely in business relationships. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to take our last commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have Jackie share her six-figure secret. We're also going to have a little bit of fun at the end as we wrap up. So make sure you all stick around. Don't go anywhere. This is the Six Figure Setup Podcast.
Have you heard? T3 Diversity Solutions is hosting its 7th annual business mastermind. Since 2015, CEO Tiffany Gillespie has hosted business owners from across the United States in a one-day intensive to review goal attainment, develop strategies for the coming year, and push past any roadblocks to your business success. This application-only event is one you cannot miss. Tiffany personally selects each mastermind attendee to ensure the group maximizes its time together. Seats for this event are extremely limited, so submit your application today by visiting T3's website. This year's mastermind will be completely virtual, so you can join from anywhere. To learn more and apply now, visit T3DiversitySolutions.com.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We are in our final segment of the Six Figure Setup Podcast, our episode with Miss Jackie M. Again, just really, really honored to have her here with us. And I'll save all of my extra love because I want to, just love on her a little bit. Y'all know I like to do that at the end of our time together, but we are going to jump right back into it. I mean, there's a lot still left for us to cover. Make sure you have your notebooks. Because I'm getting ready to have Miss Jackie M share her six-figure secret. So, Jackie, you and I both know that there are levels to this six-figure thing, right? There's six-figure revenue, there's six-figure profit, and then you also have a six-figure salary. I'm personally of the belief that you should not be paying yourself a six-figure salary if you have not attained six-figure profit, because then in that case, all your money is going to your salary, but we'll leave that alone. But let's just talk about these different stages and steps. Like, what was something tangible that you did that helped you to move from no revenue, right? Because we know your start story, how you started, from no revenue, grow, six-figure revenue, grow, six-figure profit, grow, six-figure salary. What did that journey look like for you? But also, what are some tangible things that you use to start, grow, and scale?
So for me, it was more about figuring out what my expenses were. So really understanding what my expenses are in business, and understanding what type of monies that I'm going to have to reinvest, into my business. So those are some things that was that I learned early on. Like, I came from a business background. Like, I have a business degree. And I came from the banking world. So I have to understand, because I that's my background, right? So it was kind of easy for me to understand the difference between revenue, expenses, and profit, right? And I said earlier that the revenue is not your money. It's not your money. Like, it's just the revenue coming back from what you put out, but all of that is not your money. You have to be wise enough to say, all right, I have to pay out these expenses, whatever your overhead is. All of that stuff have to come out off top. You also have to take the money out to reinvest. Like, you have to be sure that you're doing all of these things so that you can see an actual profit. And I think some things that started to change for me is hiring a CPA. Hiring a CPA so that I can understand, having the right tools in place to help me understand and to see my money. Like, for me, I guess because I came from a banking background, I still bank with Chase. They have great business products and things like that, great tools that you can use to actually monitor and manage your money that's coming in and what you're spending out. So understanding those things was number one for me. And then also having the other systems in place, and understanding for example, Shopify. Shopify has great reports. So being able to read those reports and understanding what's happening and what type of profit margins you have, and understanding just those type of things as a business owner, understanding and knowing your numbers. I think knowing your numbers help you be successful long term. Right. And understanding, because I made $1,000 today don't mean that I can go spend $1,000 today. It's the difference. So when I say the revenue is not your money, it's true. It's not your money, because revenue minus all your expenses, not just some expenses, but all of your expenses equals your profits. So now you have your profits. So now it's one of those things with your profits. What do? With your profits, you need to figure out saving, because you still have your lifestyle, you still have your family, you still have all those things. So for me, understanding my profits have to now be saved and stacked for something else. So always understanding how you want to allocate your money, how you want to allocate those profits. And when you just focus on those little things and how you want to allocate, I think that's when you have to make a decision. Am I even in a space to go on a salary? And sometimes you might not be in a space to go on a salary. Your profit may just be enough for you to maybe pay some of your personal expenses. It may be enough just to take care of your kids. It may be enough just so I can, okay, I did all those things. Let me now figure out how much I got left over so I can flip this right quick. Yeah. So for me, it took me a long time to start, saying, oh, I want to be on a salary. And to be honest, I don't really even have a salary now. To be real honest with you, because it's like I'm always putting my money in so many different things. And so I don't care about going on the salary. I don't care about, a lot of those things like the money. That's not what moved me. For me, I'm on a road to retire. I'm on a road to retire. So I take some, I spend some, I stack some. And when I'm stacking, I always have money in the back where I can say, oh, I want to invest into this new opportunity. So that's kind of my thing. I'm still not on a salary per se. I just grow and I just grind and I just stack, spend, And sometimes I spend it all.
Mm.
But
I mean, that's
I'm
right.
a risk taker
Let's keep it
because
all the way real.
yeah, because I understand what or I'm sorry. I understand what that return looks like. So for me, it's all about continuing to reinvest in different things, whether it's businesses, whether it's real estate, whatever it is, new ideas, new ventures, things that's going to make my business better, personal development. I think that's so important. So I'm always just about, reinvesting and continue to grow until I'm ready to be in a space where I can just sit back.
Yeah, so good. Listen, you dropped so many gems. I got about 5, 6 notes in just a few minutes. I just want to say that I love that my guests are talking about this idea of salary so much. So you're not the first guest that I brought on who basically said like I don't really like take a salary or like consistent salary or whatever, or that I don't have a problem giving it up. And I've shared in my own journey that there have been times where I've consistently taken a salary from my company. There are businesses that I own now that I've never taken a salary from or never taken pay from because the consulting firm generates enough for me to be able to, more than take care of myself. But there have been times in this journey where I have said, you know what, the thing that I'll sacrifice is my salary. And I know there may be some business experts on here who wouldn't agree, and that's why everybody's business journey is personal. But for the people who I am bringing on here and for everyone that's listening, I don't want you all to miss that part. I tell you guys all the time, you do not get in business just to make money, because if money is your only motivation, you're going to give up when you hit those edges, when you hit those times when it's slower. However, you don't stay in business by making money. And even though we are talking about this idea or kind of like this loose structure around salary, it doesn't mean that we're not paying ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're not charging our worth. It doesn't mean that we're not taking care of ourselves. What it means is if I had to give up a week's pay or if I had to give up a month's pay in order to invest that into something else that I know is going to produce, that's going to yield something great, that we're willing to do it. So it's not about getting caught up so much and running out and being like, oh, they only talking about how they don't take salaries. No. I don't teach my consulting clients that. But there are sacrifices that have to be made. And Jacque mentioned this earlier, even when she was talking about knowing when to walk away from something, that she has multiple irons in the fire. And when you get to the stage, you guys heard a few episodes back, Dr. Tamara Lucas said the same thing. I've talked about the same thing. When you get to the point of having multiple irons in the fire, you can do things like, I don't need to take a salary. I don't need to take an owner's payout from this particular company, or I can reinvest my pay, from that company. So I just want to recap what Jacque said just in terms of her 6-figure secret is first and foremost knowing your numbers. You need to understand your expenses, not some of your expenses, all of your expenses. You need to understand the importance of reinvesting. If you want to grow your company, you have to reinvest. She also mentioned bringing in experts, that she hired a CPA, even though she comes from the banking industry and has a banking background. She was humble enough to understand that she needed a different type of help, and got that help that she needed. And then another piece that I just want to make sure that y'all don't miss is the importance of reports and data in business. That there are tools nowadays that will literally do the reporting for you, but you have to know your data. You need to know your highest selling products. You need to know the products that are not selling. If it's not selling, are we scrapping it or are we coming up with a new strategy? If it is selling, what can we do to entice more people to buy? Okay, so having those reports in the data in business is really important. If you're in a service-based industry, you really need to have reports, and it has to be numerical data. In the consulting field, I have to know what percentage my clients' revenue grew by. What did their customer count acquisition grow by? What is the success rate of the company, right? So you need to know that data. So thank you, Jacque, for spilling your 6-figure secret with us. I want to just do something really fun, real quick. And let's talk about what motivates you. What is your hustle motivation song? That song that just motivates you to get to the money.
All right. This is it. Ain't this what they've been waiting for?
It's what they've been waiting for.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I used to pray for times like this to grind like this, so I had to grind like that to shine like this in a matter of.
Come on, Meek Mill.
Listen. Dreams and nightmares.
Woo.
That's the one for me. And I have a lot. I have a lot of songs. Like I love Jay-Z. But you're talking about that song that's going, come on, girl. Come on. Because I remember, I know where I came from.
Yeah.
Even before getting a job with Chase, like I was recruited personally by Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon was the CEO, and I guess I don't even know if he's still CEO because I don't work for the bank no more. I don't keep up. But Jamie Dimon was the CEO for JP Morgan Chase. And he came to Chicago State University, and I was personally recruited by Jamie Dimon. And when I went into this group interview, right, I was the only Black girl, okay, at the interview, and they hired me, and I took that job, and I was right out of college. Matter of fact, I had the job before I graduated from college. And I stayed in that role for 10 years and I learned so much. But prior to that, I come from a humble background. You know what I'm saying? I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot. I've gone through a lot. And for me, just being able to make it out of where you come from and just come from that to actually always have drive. Drive is so important. You can have a vision, that's cool. You can have a goal, that's cool. You can have a business plan, you can write that 10 times over. But if you don't have drive to really accomplish those things, nothing is gonna happen. You ain't gotta know everything. You ain't gotta be the smartest one in the room. You ain't gotta do none of that. But when you show up every day and just prove that you want more, all things can happen. All things can happen. And the 5 things that I live off of is prayer.
Yep.
Peace. Finding your peace, because I'm telling you, in this entrepreneurship journey, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. But it's the most rewarding thing. If you can manage to have strong prayer and a strong relationship with God and trust Him, just that having that peace is hard because people get in the way of your peace, and it takes you out of your space, and it'll cloud your mind, and it'll keep you from accomplishing things, right? So always maintaining that peace, having passion behind anything you decide to do, learning your purpose, figuring out your purpose. And I always tell people, my daughter asked me this the other day, how do you know? You know because you can't sleep at night, because that same thing is brewing in your guts. It's brewing in your gut. And it happens every single day. And sometimes I already talked about this, but paying attention to and being wise to what God is trying to tell you, what He's trying to show you. And oftentimes it shows up in your guts. And if it's the same thing, 9 times out of 10, you need to pay attention to it and move in that. That's 9 times out of 10 your purpose, right? And then from all of those things will organically translate into profits. Okay, so those are the things that I believe in. Those are the things that I live by. And I'm just grateful. That's all I could ever say to anybody. It's been some great years. It's been some bad years. It's been a lot of personal challenges that has come up, but you have to still manage to get up every single day and just reinvent yourself and get back out there and not be afraid to keep moving.
So good. So I want to recap that. I think I wrote down and caught everything, and I've heard you share this before. But there are 5 P's that you live by: prayer.
Yep.
Peace.
Yep.
Passion.
Yep.
Purpose.
Absolutely.
And profit. So good. So good. So I wrote that down. Listen, again, I'm taking my notes. I hope everybody else who's listening, took their notes today. So thank you so much for sharing that. We love Meek Mills. I started my entrepreneurial journey in Philly. Philly like built me as a woman. It built me as an entrepreneur for sure. It built this drive, this hunger that I have in this field. So I definitely completely understand why that song motivates you. And anybody who's from Philly probably just rap the entire verse at the top of their lungs. That's what we do when we hear it. So Jackie, I want to wrap up with just talking about how people can stay connected to you. I know that you are currently on a tour, and I think we need to tell the people. So, like, let's just talk about all the cities. I don't know when people are going to hear this. They might hear it when it airs. They might not listen to it until weeks later. But let's just talk about the Build a Bag tour. What is it? What cities are going to be included as a part of the tour?
So we have coming up the tour dates. You can go to our website, check out the dates for a city near you. But we are definitely going to be in Dallas. We're going to be in Houston. We're going to be in Atlanta. We're also going to be in Chicago, which is my hometown, and the DMV. And lastly, I'm not sure if I'm going to do New York or if I'm going to do Philly. Because I basically chose my top markets, and Philly and New York, I ship there a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe Philly, maybe New York. So I don't know yet, but it's one of the two. We're going to have to figure that out. But definitely check us out. The Build a Bag experience is an amazing experience for women to come together. And most importantly, not just coming together, but creating everlasting memories together, which is so important because we never know when is the last time we're going to see somebody. And I'm big on memories and creating everlasting memories with your girlfriends, your family, and things like that. To me, is so priceless. So Build a Bag, you come together. We're going to custom make a leather clutch. So you can go tell people, I built my own bag. I made my bag. But then outside of that, we're going to have food. We're going to have cocktails. And we're going to have girl talk. And just really getting into just fellowshipping with one another and encouraging women all over the world and sending our message. Just the power of just the transition, of it all. There's different levels of transition. There's different types of transition. We are in a space right now in the world where people are feeling stuck and feeling like, what's next? And when you understand the power of transition, you really know that you can do anything. And there's so many amazing things on the other side of the transition. So you got to just do it, if it's in your spirit to move.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you all check out the tour. She is currently on tour. If you are listening to this podcast episode on the drop date, she's currently on the Build a Bag Experience tour. But word on the street is that for Black Friday, you have something really good coming up. So I wrote it down, took a little personal note. Because again, I do have Jackie in bags and I love all of them. But I heard there's a special sale coming up. So can you tell us what that offer is going to be? And listen, so here's what we're going to do. Jackie wanted to give me the promo code. And I told her, no, the people need to go to her website. They need to go to her Instagram page because I want y'all to follow Jackie. I want you to go to the website. Everything is in the show notes on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So I want you all to make sure you follow her and stay connected. But can you tell people what the offer is? Because I feel like it's an amazing offer.
Yes. So Black Friday, we're going to kick ourselves off Black Friday through Cyber Monday, and it's going to be a 50% off the entire website, Black Friday, all the way up to Monday. And if you stay connected and stay following us, you may get a chance to shop early, but you got to follow us on Instagram at the Jackie M, and definitely check us out at shopjackiem.com.
Awesome. Yes, make sure you all check her out. So, Jackie, thank you so much for being so selfless, making the time to do this. I know that you are a very busy woman. I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. I didn't think she was gonna say yes as quickly. One thing that I do know about Jackie is that anything that I've asked her for, that she's always said yes. And again, we met each other in the spirit in a time of prayer. So I know her spirit is good and that it's pure. I really do appreciate you taking time to do this with me and for me and to just be a part of the Six Figure Setup podcast. So thank you. And I give all of my love to you.
Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate you so much. Yes, we always have great conversation. And you are definitely a woman of God. And you prayed over me at that conference. I'm like, whoo, girl, what? I said I need to call her again for that kind of prayer.
Yes.
But no, I appreciate you and thank you for reaching out. You know, anytime you reach out to me, it's always going to be a yes. It's always, I might be a little delayed getting back or getting on the calendar, but it's always going to be a yes. So anytime you need me, just hit me up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm going to let you go, Miss Jackie M. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, so thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Six Figure Setup podcast with Miss Jackie M. As I stated, all of the information to stay in touch with her is going to be in the show notes. Make sure you all follow her on social media, that you patronize her business. You all know I'm very serious about that. The people who have come on here, these are businesses that I have patronized, that I have supported in one way or another, and I want you all to do the same. So thank you all for sticking around for the entire episode. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of the Six Figure Setup podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Gillespie. I love you all to life, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Businesses have life cycles just like humans, and what they need at each stage will be different.
Yeah, it's a setup.